Alright, hey there guys, what's up? It's Autobot Mike 18 here with another movie review. Guys, I am sorry that I am shooting this movie review on my webcam, but in order to get this review up for you guys quickly and not to get it up like a day or two later than I wanted it up, I decided to shoot this review on my webcam. I never review new releases on my webcam. I usually use my HD camcorder, but I'm just doing it just for this one time, just for the sake of saving time. Anyway, guys, how are you all? If you guys watched my last movie review, which was for No Good Deed, which was... the twist was good. If you watched the end of my review for that, or the beginning, I said that I would be watching this movie this week, and I would get a review up for you guys. And of course, the movie I'm going to be reviewing for you guys in this video is... The Drop. Yes, I still print out a poster. I know I can barely fit it into the screen, so I'll hold it up periodically. But yes, guys, I got a chance to see The Drop, the newest crime drama thriller, which was released Friday. I went today, Monday. By the way, if you guys ever want to go to a movie theater and have it be in complete silence and you don't want any distractions, anything like that, go on a Monday afternoon because nobody is going to be there. Alright, there were a couple people in my theater, but my whole audience was just quiet. So just to point that out there. But anyway, guys, The Drop stars Tom Hardy, James Gandolfini, and Noomi Rapace. This is actually James Gandolfini's final film role, which is why a lot of people are making a big deal about it. This James Gandolfini was an amazing actor, as raved by a lot of people, especially noted for his work on The Sopranos. So a lot of people were looking forward to this movie. The movie is directed by Michael R. Roskam, who I believe has never really done anything before. So we got a crime drama thriller coming out in the fall. Perfect time for crime dramas to come out, by the way. It's just a perfect season for them. I don't know, a lot of them come out around this time. But anyway, guys, I did get a chance to see it. A lot of people have been praising the movie, specifically James Gandolfini and Tom Hardy's performances. And now I'm here to give you guys my thoughts on the movie. So without further ado, guys, let's get into the plot behind The Drop. Now, Tom Hardy in this movie stars as Bob. He is a bartender in a local Brooklyn bar in New York. And the bar is owned, or I should say owned/managed by James Gandolfini's character, Marv. So Bob and Marv work at this bar. Marv owns the whole thing. And the bar sort of works as a drop-off bar. And what I mean by that is all of New York City's dirty money, money that would go to the mob or something like that, okay, gets dropped off at this bar where it is stored, and the mob will literally come over and pick the money up. So bars, and this isn't just the only bar that's doing this in all of New York. There are bars all over the place. I don't know what that was. That was a big firecracker. Let's keep filming, guys. That kind of scared me. But anyway, apparently there are bars all over New York City, and they serve as these drop-off bars. And that's why the movie's called The Drop. The mob money, dirty mob money, gangster money is stored in these bars. And after Bob and Marv's bar is robbed by two criminals, they need to find a way to retrieve this money for the demanding Chechen mobsters that are after this money that they want. And of course, the police are going to start to investigate the matters to find out who really robbed the bar, and Bob and Marv need to get this money back somehow. And that's basically the premise of the first 30 minutes of The Drop. And the robbery actually happens very early in the movie. I'm going to say like 20 minutes into the movie. Bang, you got a bar robbery. And it was very, very quick too. Like, the trailers made it look like it was going to be this really tense, nail-biting scene. It happened very quickly. But that's all I'm going to say in regards to the plot behind The Drop. And here's what I am going to say about the movie, guys. It is a crime drama thriller, and I do enjoy the genre. We have had a lot of good crime drama thrillers come out, especially over the past couple of years or whatnot, of all time in general. It's a very interesting genre that I do enjoy. And I will say this much: The Drop was a really, really good, entertaining, really solid crime drama that I ended up really enjoying. That's probably because of how good the script was for the most part, and how good the performances were, especially from Tom Hardy and James Gandolfini. They were really, really solid. And I'm not saying that The Drop is like one of the best crime dramas we've had in years, okay? Because I'm not saying that. The movie's got a few flaws here or there. Is it the next The Godfather, or the next The Departed, or the next The Town? No, it's not on that level. But for this year, out of all the movies we've had this year, it is a very solid crime drama thriller that I actually ended up really enjoying, and I got really behind. I got invested in it, and even though it doesn't have that much violence in it, and I'm starting to question the R rating, because I feel that the movie was rated R mainly for language, and there's a couple scenes of violence. I think it could have been rated PG-13. That's just how I feel. It's one of the more subdued crime dramas in that there's a lot more dialogue scenes with that build tension instead of actual like gunfight, like gun shootouts and violence and stuff like that. And for that reason, I'm impressed with the movie, because it actually managed to keep my attention with a couple of really riveting dialogue sequences between the characters, and that's what I really enjoyed about The Drop. Now, getting into the cast of the movie, this is where the movie really shined for me, guys, and that is because of Tom Hardy and James Gandolfini. Let me talk about Tom Hardy first, because boy, oh boy, the man's had a good year so far. First, he had Locke, which is one of my favorite movies of the year. Now he has The Drop. And I'm going to not only get into the cast, but I'm also going to get into the characters. The characters were really well developed in this movie. But Tom Hardy, in particular, he's this very quiet and reserved character. He kind of keeps himself, sort of follows like a boring, monotonous schedule. Wakes up, goes to work at the bar, works the whole day, comes home. That's really it. He kind of keeps his emotions, his feelings all bottled up inside. He really doesn't lose his cool that often. Him and James Gandolfini, their characters are sort of opposite each other, which is actually kind of interesting. But at a point in the movie, Tom Hardy is going to have to lose his shit, and he is going to have to lose his cool and emote and release all of everything he has bottled up inside of him. And when that point happens in the end of the movie, it was excellent. And Tom Hardy was perfect in this movie. Gives a magnificent performance. Definitely working as the central actor in the movie. He was great. Tom Hardy was excellent in The Drop. Same can be said for James Gandolfini. This is his last film role, and I know it's sad. Now, here's the thing with me and James Gandolfini. His tragic passing actually didn't affect me as much as it did others, because if truth be told, guys, I have only seen 2 James Gandolfini movies, and they are The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3 and Zero Dark 30, and now The Drop. Obviously this is the best performance I've seen him give, because I've only seen those 3 movies, including The Drop now. And the sad thing, I've never watched The Sopranos, and I know that's where he's noted for. He's won multiple Emmys. I want to. I was too young to watch it when it aired and when it concluded. It's on my bucket list. I want to watch The Sopranos someday, shortly. But nevertheless, Gandolfini was excellent in this movie. If I had to complain about anything in regards to his character, not performance, character, he was not in the movie as much as he could have been. Now, granted, he was a supporting character, and the movie really focused on Tom Hardy's character, but because this was Gandolfini's last film role, I would have loved more scenes with him, but he was excellent. He's kind of plays the character who's just a boss, okay? Just simple, a boss, okay? He's the manager of this bar, but when he needs to take action, he'll take action. When he needs to take care of someone, he'll take care of someone. And I really like that about Gandolfini in the movie. He was just the kind of character who's in control. Meanwhile, Tom Hardy, really not so much. He's a lot more reserved and taken aback, Sort of shows weakness throughout the beginning of the movie. Meanwhile, Gandolfini was the opposite. And I really like their 2 characters, their interactions with each other. James Gandolfini's facial reactions, because he doesn't have as many dialogue lines as he probably could have, but that's probably because of his character. And I just really enjoyed both of them in this movie. If any of them are to get nominated for Oscars, it will be Gandolfini, because he'll get supporting actor a nomination. I don't see him winning it. It'll be a posthumous nomination. I don't know specifically if the Oscars will give it to him, but I think for sure he'll get a Golden Globe nomination for this movie. And he absolutely deserves it because he was fantastic in the movie, as was Tom Hardy. However, if I had to give a nomination to Tom Hardy for this or Locke, I'm going Locke because he was much better in Locke because he had much more was demanded of him in Locke, is what I'm trying to say. And also getting into Noomi Rapace's character real briefly. Now, she was in the movie, and she's not like the female love interest of Tom Hardy or anything like that, as that's what I saw based off the trailer. That's what I thought based off the trailer. But I was wrong. She's sort of the character that her and Tom Hardy start looking over this dog. They look after this dog that they find, that Tom Hardy finds. And she was good in her scenes, very attractive, I must add. But believe it or not, I think the dog got more screen time than James Gandolfini did. I kid you not. But yeah, that's something I just wanted to bring up. But all three of the lead actors were very, very good in the movie. Now, getting into my rating, guys, The Drop is a movie that is not without flaws. With that being said, it is still a very solid crime drama thriller with excellent performances, a really solid, tense, nail-biting script, especially in the second and third acts of the movie, and very well-directed film, very well shot. And for that reason, I am going to give The Drop a solid 8.5 out of 10, which is about a B. B grade for The Drop. It's not one of the best movies there. It's probably not going to wind up on my top 10 of the year. If it does, it'll be on the honorable mentions. It will not be in the top 10. But it was still a very good, well-acted movie that I actually did get invested by fully, especially in the middle and the third act. I really got into it. And when you watch the movie, it's one of those movies where so much happens, you got to take it all in. And after you watch the movie, you start to connect the pieces and you say to yourself, that's why that happened. That's why James Gandolfini did that. That's why Tom Hardy did that. And once you connect all the pieces of the movie, everything makes sense. You know, it really does pay off, and it really it makes you realize, wow, this was a really good movie. Now, getting into things I loved about the movie, starting off with the cast: Tom Hardy, Gandolfini, Noomi Rapace. It's such a shame Gandolfini has passed away. All three of them give excellent performances in this movie. Really got behind all of their performances, really bought each of them. They brought their characters to life. Their characters were also very well developed. The movie was very well directed and well shot. I love specifically how New York was portrayed in the movie. I'll get more into that when I get into the screenplay. Also, the score was excellent, and that's because composer Marco Beltrami did the score, who is a very, very good composer in my opinion. He did a very good job with the score. Really stood out in a couple scenes for me. And then, of course, the script. Even though I had problems with the first act of the movie, once we got into the middle of the movie, we got into the point of the movie and what was really going on with the characters, what Tom Hardy was trying to get accomplished, what James Gandolfini was trying to get accomplished, and all of that, I really got behind the movie. The movie has a riveting, tension-filled third act that literally left me on the edge of my seat. I started biting my nails as the third act started to ensue in the scene in the bar, and I really, really enjoyed it. I mean, I was really getting into it. I'm like, what's going to happen here? Who's going to get out of this? Who's not? I mean, I really got into it. Very solid writing, very good dialogue scenes as well for a movie that doesn't have as much, for a crime drama that doesn't have as much violence. It had very well-written dialogue scenes, most of them filled with suspense in my opinion, and I loved the depiction of New York. I'm from New York. I live in New York, so whenever I see New York depicted in film, you know, you got the guy with a coffee, you know, the New York Daily newspaper, all that, you know, all that stuff really works for me, and I just love movies set in New York, around or near New York City. The movie also had some very well solid character development, in my opinion, especially with Tom Hardy's character and James Gandolfini's character. But unfortunately, getting into the few flaws I did have with the movie, one of my biggest problems with the movie, and I heard a few people complaining about this, A lot of people said that the scenes in the first act kind of dragged on a little bit, and I would kind of agree with that. And what I mean by that is the first act really didn't end until about 40 to an hour to 60 minutes into the movie. Like about an hour into the movie, I say to myself, okay, when are we going to get into the second act? When are we going to get into the point of what is really going on here? We had two really exciting, interesting scenes in the first hour of the movie. Other than that, there's a few dialogue scenes that build up the characters and develop them, which is fine. But there's also a few irrelevant, awkward dialogue scenes that really didn't need to be in the movie, or scenes that just felt weird. You know, characters say something, they do something, and then the scene just ends and it cuts to another scene that's more important. So you have stuff like that going on. That's arguably one of my biggest problems of the movie. And then one of my other problems is that, like I kind of touched upon, the dialogue scenes. There's a few, even though most of them are very well done, riddled with suspense, there are a few that feel irrelevant and kind of unnecessary, really like they don't need to be there, and kind of awkward. A character will bring something up, and then it's just like it's like what they bring up isn't important for the rest of the movie or something like that. So stuff like that does happen. And another minor thing, I would say that the whole side story with the detective could have been a little bit more developed. They could have shown more of the detective who was working on this case. You know, because I really started getting into that, and there's a few scenes where there's tension between the detective and Tom Hardy's character. I really like that, but they kind of didn't show us enough of that. With that all being said, however, guys, The Drop is a very solid movie that I'd recommend you checking out in the theaters, especially if you're a fan of James Gandolfini and Tom Hardy. They're excellent, and I would see it for the performances and the solid writing alone, despite the few flaws I had. And that's all I have to say about The Drop, guys. 8.5 out of 10. This is James Gandolfini's final role, so go see it to support him, even if you have hesitations. But guys, if you did see The Drop, let me know what you thought about it down below. Give me your opinions, your thoughts on it. What's your favorite James Gandolfini movie or show, for that matter? Is it just The Sopranos? Leave that comment down below in memory of him because of how good an actor he is. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed my review of The Drop. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.